Hey guys, Howard here with a more or less beginning guitar lesson, okay? We're talking about basic rhythm guitar playing, the essentials of rhythm guitar playing. Rhythm guitar playing is the backbone of thousands and thousands of songs, right? So developing a solid rhythmic technique and just ability on the instrument will help you out enormously moving forward, playing so many songs and then even further down the line if you get into more complex things, okay? Now, as I said, this is basically a beginning guitar lesson, but it does require that you know a few chords. But even having said that, I'm going to simplify even more and give you just two simple chords to work with using these rhythm patterns, okay? So what I'm going to use in this example is a G chord, a C add 9, an A minor, an E minor, and finally a D. Okay? Now those are the chords I'm going to use in this lesson, but if you don't know these chords yet or they're too tricky for you to get to because you're literally just getting started, I want to give you these two simple chord shapes to use. One will be E minor, a chord I just mentioned, and you can play that with your first two fingers if you want to, second fret on the fifth string and second fret on the fourth string. You can also play it with your two middle fingers instead if that's easier for you. Whatever is easiest for you is the best way to go here, right? So all we're going to do with that shape, depending on how you're playing it, is we're just going to slip it down to the next set of strings. So now we're going to be on the fourth string and the third strings, okay? But still at the second fret, okay? So however you choose to do it, that's going to be a simple change. So even though I'm using the 4 or 5 chords in the full exercise here, you can simply use those two chords if that's all you can get going just yet, right? So that's pretty easy to do, just the same shape moved around, okay? So let me play the rhythmic example for you and then we'll talk about it. I'm going to be using 4 what I consider very standard rhythms that I think every guitar player should know. Rhythm essentials. Here we go. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 4 essential rhythm patterns. These are rhythm patterns that you will find in numerous songs. Now, the most important thing to understand about solid rhythm playing is that you want to develop a technique of playing in the pocket. And what I mean by that is every song has a downbeat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, the quarter note. And from there you can expand out into different syncopated rhythms, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? So the important thing to understand about that is playing in the pocket means not just keeping time, but playing into the beat and or beats of the song. So if we were just playing quarter notes, a downstroke would be the way to go. You're stroking on a downbeat, right? So you're strumming into the groove. Now, if we were to play eighth notes, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you would want the 1, 2, 3, and 4 on a down strum, downbeat, and then the ands on the upbeat. So you'd want to stroke up. Seems like a really simple concept, right? But once you get into syncopated rhythms, a lot of players lose that concept, right? So for simple eighth notes, we would have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Always upstroking on the upbeat and downstroking on the downbeat. Or if you're using the two simple chords that I mentioned earlier, the E minor to the A sus2. And you can just use those two simple chords for this whole lesson if, once again, if that's all you can get going at this point, okay? So anyway, let's get back to it. But of course, not every song is going to have a simple down, up, down, up, down, up strumming pattern. There will be songs that have that, of course, but most of the time you're going to run into some kind of syncopated pattern, right? So once again, I played 4 different patterns. We're going to go through each of them and string them together as best we can. And the first pattern was actually 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. In other words, the third downbeat was skipped. So we want to play it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you notice my hand's still moving, but I'm not attacking the strings on that third downbeat. So what that means is that's a ghost note, if you want. It's silent, let's put it that way, right? But you want to keep your stroking in the proper direction, so you want to hit that and 4 and with an upstroke, followed by a downstroke and an upstroke. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Once again, down, up, down, up, up, down, up. That's what I call playing in the pocket, right? You're not playing against the groove, you're playing into the groove. In other words, you're not playing something like this. It just sounds jagged and broken up. You want to keep that rhythmic flow of playing in the pocket, okay? Now again, we're going to string all of these together, but let's talk about the second rhythm that I played, which is this. Once again, if you're just getting started, you can use those simple chord shapes that I mentioned, just so you can get going on the rhythm part of it. Okay, so what I played on this one was 1, 2, and 4 and. 1, 2, and 4 and. Once again, that third downbeat is being skipped, okay? The 3 count, 1, 2, 3. But for this particular rhythm, again, we're playing 1, 2, and. So you're going to have 2 downstrokes in a row, 1, 2, and. Because the first upbeat after 1, if that makes sense, is being skipped. 1, 2, and 3 is being skipped as well. So we're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Once again, catching that and 4 and on an upstroke. Once again, always playing into the pocket. Now, moving to the third rhythm, things start getting a little trickier. A common technique on rhythm guitar is muting, where you stroke a chord and then you mute it with the palm of your hand or the side of your hand just by resting it gently against the strings. And that's called muting, and you can mute anywhere you want inside a rhythm. Now for this particular rhythm, I played this. So this rhythm is 1 and mute and, okay? So the mute is falling on the second beat. 1 and 2, right? So you want to have your mute right in rhythm with what you would normally be strumming, right? 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and that's where you mute. And then we finish that with an upstroke, the upstroke of 2, right? So 2 is silent, but it's followed by an eighth note, an upstroke. So you want to attack that after the mute with an upstroke. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. And then we finish the rhythm off just as we did in the previous two examples with and 4 and, right? So we're going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And once again, if you're using the simple E minor to A sus2, same rhythm in the right hand. Okay, so let's move to the fourth and final rhythm. Now, this particular rhythm has the most activity of all four, okay? And you'll find this as a note in George Harrison's My Sweet Lord. This is the rhythm pattern that he uses for that, right? And you'll find it in other songs as well, I'm sure. But this is what it is. Let's break that one down. Again, you're just playing in the pocket, playing with the groove instead of against it. So right out the gate, we have this 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So we've got those two quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So I'm going to break this rhythm in half. That's the first half of it. And that's followed by another upstroke because that next downbeat is skipped. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and. So let me play that real slow. You've got the basic concept, I'm sure, by now, but as you can see, I'm playing all the eighth notes with upstrokes and all the downstrokes, or downbeats with downstrokes. That's the full rhythm. Down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up. One more time, really nice and slow. Down, 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 up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Now, if you've made it through all four rhythms, the thing to do here with this exercise is to string all four of those together, move from one to the next one, utilizing the chords, all 5 chords, or in the case of total beginners, if you will, you can just use those 2 chords. And I'll play it both ways. I'll play it with just the simple chords and with the 4 or 5 bigger chords for those of you who want to have at it. So I'll count it off, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, something I want to mention about the Harrison flavored strumming pattern from My Sweet Lord is that this is a really cool thing to wrap your head around, because what we're doing and what he did in that particular song is he changed chords on an upstroke, on an upbeat. So when we come from that last E minor to the D, we're playing down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So you're catching that D chord on the upstroke. You don't change the strumming pattern at all, it's just when you move in your left hand. And that's a common thing in a lot of songs. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Okay, so for those of you who are handy with the chords that I just used, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. But what I want to do here, tack this on at the end, for those of you just getting started and you just want to work with those two simple chord shapes, right? I'm going to go through all 4 strumming patterns using just those 2 chords, all right? Here we go. And we'll play each rhythmic phrase twice, right? So that gives you a little time to breathe. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go with the basics of solid rhythm guitar playing. And there's so much more that you can do, of course. But again, this is geared more toward the beginner, and just explaining that simple concept of playing in the pocket and learning 4 essential rhythms, right, in one lesson that you'll find in numerous songs. And in a lot of songs, you'll find combinations of patterns, right? You might play one pattern, and then it goes to the next section of the song, and they switch up the rhythmic pattern. So you'll find a lot of cool stuff in a lot of different songs, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll see you in the next video.